Welcome back to the reading of the Mahabharata by Kamala Subramanian. Chapter 23. The plot. Dhritarashtra was the king, no doubt, but his kingdom was conquered by Pandu for him. It was the valor and military genius of Pandu which was responsible for the extent of the land of the Kurus. On top of this was the fact that Yudhishthira was older than Duryodhana. He was very popular with the people. Bhishma, Drona, and Vidura were eloquent in their praises of the Pandavas in general and Yudhishthira in particular. Dhritarashtra would, of course, have liked to see his son Duryodhana crowned as Yuvaraja, but he knew how impracticable that was. He had to install Yudhishthira as the Yuvaraja. The son of the blind king was furious, and so were the rest. But they could do nothing and say nothing. 1 year passed. Bhima and Duryodhana became pupils of the great Balarama. Balarama was unequaled in the art of wielding the mace. Strange to say, he became extremely fond of Duryodhana. He taught all his pupils with equal sincerity, but Duryodhana was to him what Arjuna was to Drona. He loved Duryodhana and Duryodhana was devoted to him. In the meantime, the final touches were given to Drona by the education of Arjuna. He could now proclaim to the world, no one can equal Arjuna in the entire world. He told Arjuna, listen, you're the greatest archer in this world. No one can defeat you, no one except one. Arjuna was surprised and slightly put out. He wanted to know who it could be who was better than even himself. Drona smiled and said, learning and humility should go together. Never think too highly of yourselves. It is for others to say that you are the greatest archer in the world. It does not look nice if you call yourself that. But coming back to the person I was talking about, it is Krishna of the house of the Vrishnis. He is the greatest of the great. There is no one to equal him in anything. I am not exaggerating when I say this. He is your cousin. His father Vasudeva is your mother's brother. If Krishna becomes your friend, then not all the gods in the heavens, nor Indra, can do you any harm. Krishna also heard all about the Pandavas, and he will only be happy to be your friend. I hope you will meet him soon. Yudhishthira was the Yuvaraja for a year. Within that year, he became immensely popular with all the people. As for Bhima and Arjuna, their valor became proverbial. Arjuna conquered several kingdoms in the north, south, east, and west. The jealousy of the Kauravas was increasing day by day. Dhritarashtra was no exception either. He tried to behave like a father to the sons of his dead brother, but looking on the valor and strength of the Pandavas, he was suddenly overcome with feelings of unfriendliness towards them. The people spoke highly of Yudhishthira. They said the king Dhritarashtra is blind and inefficient. Bhishma is no doubt very efficient. He is capable and he is very noble, but he renounced his claim to the throne long ago. Duryodhana is not good enough to rule us. It is but right that Yudhishthira should rule us. These words of the people were duly reported to Duryodhana by his spies, and his heart was full of pain. He went to his father, choosing a time when he would be alone, and poured out all his grievances to him. He told the king about the way the people were talking and said, Father, look on the consequences of your rash act. You installed Yudhishthira as the Yuvaraja, and the people are only dreaming of the time when he will be crowned king. Why did you do it? Dhritarashtra said, you do not understand. Though I am the monarch, this land was conquered for me entirely by my brother Pandu. He was a great warrior. He built up this realm. He then went away to the forest, renouncing everything. He died there. and his orphan sons were brought to me, and I was asked to treat them as my own children. Yudhishthira deserves all the praises heaped upon him, and I also hope that with the valiant brothers of his to support him and the equally valiant sons of mine to aid him, this son of Pandu will be able to re-establish the fame of the Kuru house. There was no thought of denying you your privileges, but now I found you to be full of jealousy towards them and towards Bhima in particular. I tell you, there is no use in trying to harm them. They are well protected by Bhishma and Vidura. The best thing for you to do will be to give up this hatred for them and behave like a brother towards them. Yudhishthira sits high in the hearts of the people. It will be suicidal to do anything rash. The prince sighed deeply. His frame was trembling with fury. He wrung his hands together in futile fury and rage. With his eyes red with anger, he looked on all sides. He then addressed his father. Father, I know you are talking like this because of your fear of being overheard. I can assure you, there is no one over here except you and me. You can be frank and tell me what your real feelings are. If this Yudhishthira becomes king, then his son will rule after him, and his son's son after his son, and so on. The kingdom will become theirs entirely. How can we, the sons of the king, be dependent on the hated Pandavas? We will lose our position as the sons of the king. We will have to do service to the man who is king. I would rather die than be dependent on the Pandavas. I am the son of the king. I must be king too. If you have any affection for me, you must do something about it, or else I will kill myself. I have no intention of doing menial service to that glutton Bhima. Dhritarashtra placed his hand on the bent hand of his son, whose angry tears burnt his hands. My child, said the king, do not grieve. My brother Pandu was a very sweet-natured man. He won the heart of everyone by his gentleness and his charm. His son Yudhishthira is just like him. He has annexed the heart of each and every one in the land. If anything should happen to him, we will be blamed. The Pandavas are extremely popular. We cannot afford to antagonize them. It was only after considering all this that I arrived at the decision to crown Yudhishthira as Yuvaraja. Father, said Duryodhana, let me tell you something. Let us not consider grandfather. He has maintained an indifferent attitude towards all of us. Ever since these cousins of mine came, I have noticed one thing. Grandfather has never taken up the cause of either side. Bhima used to harass us. Grandfather ignored the hurts caused to us. Later we tried to harm Bhima. I have tried to kill Bhima. The same attitude was maintained by grandfather. I have a feeling he does not care very much about anything what happens here. I have often seen him in the palace gardens, walking along the banks of the river Ganga, sunk deep in reverie. I once caught him shedding tears too. I asked him why he was crying. He took me on his lap. He's very fond of me, and said, nothing, my child, nothing. Only I'm tired, too tired. Then why do you not take a long rest? I said. Grandfather's eyes became wet. No, my child, he said, I cannot rest. I must not. He then asked me to run away and said, don't worry about me and my rest. It'll not be for a long time to come. I will be all right after that. This happened years ago. It is funny, my remembering it so vividly. It seems clear to me that our dear grandfather has no thought of us at all. He has some secret sorrow of his own. He will not care what we do. Ashwatthama is my dear friend. His affection for me is constant as the northern star. He is on my side. Drona will have to be on my side. No father will take this side opposite to his son. Kripa will now naturally side with these two. That leaves only Vidura. He is very fond of the Pandavas. He is prepared to abandon even you. if it comes to a choice between you and the Pandavas. But what can one low-born man do? He can only talk to you about dharma. Let him. You enjoy his talks anyway. Father, I have thought of a plan. You say that Yudhishthira is loved by the people. I agree. If, however, you send the Pandavas away with their mother to some distant place, say Varanavata, for a year, I will try and win the love of the people. After all, in a year's time, people will forget Yudhishthira. The common people are known for their short memories. They will learn to love me. As for the Pandavas, if and when they return, they will find their days of glory gone. You must do this for me. Send them away from here. If you love me, remove this sharp arrow from my heart. It is killing me, robbing me of my peace of mind. I have not been able to sleep since a long time now. Send the Pandavas with their mother to Varanavata, and I will take care of the rest. I will see that something definite is done. With these parting words, Duryodhana went away. The king sat alone for a long time, alone with his sinful thoughts. He knew his son. He knew that a plot would be hatched so that the Pandavas would never come back. He did not say anything or do anything to his son. But by his silence, he had lent his approval. Dhritarashtra was hoping to finalize the plot with the help of his evil mentors. His jealousy for the unfortunate sons of his dead brother was just as great and violent as that of Duryodhana. Only he knew how to hide it. His son did not know how. Dhritarashtra then sent for a man called Kanika. This man was a friend of Shakuni. He was a past master in all the different crooked ways of a schemer. The old king asked him how to set about the task. He said, "My son and I are burning with hatred and jealousy. The cause must be known to you. The rise of the Pandavas is unbearable to us. Can you suggest some method by which we can rest in peace?" Kanika said the only way to get peace is to abandon the Pandavas, get rid of them somehow. But remember, you must be able to practice hypocrisy. You must pretend to be fond of them, but in reality, finding ways and means of destroying them. The only cure is killing. It is not safe to allow the enemy to thrive. It will then be like trying to cut a tree which has grown too strong. You must nip it off when it is young. It is better for you to protect yourself and your sons. The Pandavas are indeed getting stronger day by day. I am telling you clearly what should be done. After giving this golden advice, Kanika went away. With that, we come to the end of chapter 23, the plot from the Mahabharata. This is me, Rajesh, signing off from Storytime with Rajesh. Until the next episode. Take care. Ciao.